Welcome to the Kings in Gaming podcast. I'm your topic host today, 8-Bit of Fun, and today we'll be talking about toxic masculinity and have an open dialogue, which I myself and my co-host, black male content creators should or could be having. And today to help me with the discussion is my best friend and landlord, my fellow co-host, Ziggy the Beast of Ziggy Is Epic Podcast. What's going on, Ziggy?
How y'all doing?
But before we get started with the discussion, I would like to take this time to say, one, the following options and opinions are mine alone. And at this time, I may play devil's advocate. These opinions are mine and do not represent Kings of Gaming's Real Ones Network and any others affiliated with me in any way. For our video watchers, feel free to comment below on the video or email us if there is something you heard that you would like to elaborate further on, and we might bring it up in the next topics or next episodes. You may be able to have a full episode dedicated to something that we've said. But until then, let's get started. And Zig, we've talked a lot about stuff like this all the time behind closed doors and even in streams about toxic masculinity, holding people accountable kind of. But it all comes back to there's a difference between someone who's toxic with masculinity and someone who just don't understand how to articulate their own emotions, or might be a disconnect where they can't actively express themselves in a constructive way. Do you believe like this is two sides of the same coin, or we dealing with the same issue just in a different way? What you think?
Yeah, I do feel that I see in some cases it could be a double-sided coin, but I do believe toxic masculinity is its own thing. Like if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm going through something, I'm not gonna take it out on you or a certain group of people that don't deserve it, because a lot of toxic masculinity is predetermined. It is something that they've thought through, and people choose to be that way. Like it's no gray. I think it's no gray area with the way some people act in that, but I do feel some people do get hurt in certain situations but don't know how to express themselves. So there's two sides of it.
So, and I understand that, but some people are a product of their environment, because there's music, movies, just something that just been put upon us as black males to always be strong, don't show any signs of weakness, is you versus the world. And it's like, so I prepared my life to fight an unknown enemy who I have never seen, don't know what to look like. So you have a higher guard up than most people, which can also make you look like a bad person, but it's just the way you were. I know I have days we live in the same house for right now. And you've seen days where I don't say a word to anyone other than good morning, hello, and I'm shut off from the rest of the world.
I've done the same.
Exactly. But we are not bad people. But if somebody randomly walked in the house and be like, what is wrong with him? We have an understanding because we both established that, okay, look, we both act that way. And we both said, hey, look, it's nothing against you. This is my routine for right now.
But see that? What do we do? What's that called?
Communicate.
Not assuming, not just drawing conclusions.
True. But who has friendship that they can say, who has true friendship that they can say they have that type of trust in somebody to do it? So where does the trust, where does building that trust come in at? who decides to like that's not something that me and you were not. We were introduced by a friend who we rarely talk to. We just so happened to be a product of our environment where it was like, you're moving to this part of town. I already live here.
Your familiar face.
Yes,
Like, oh, I know
yes,
him. Yeah.
yeah. Versus somebody who, as a content creator, we play the same game, but I'm trying to do the same thing you are. Where it's a weird situation. It's not like you're you're trying to build a business partner without building a business partner. It's a little bit different. But to give someone who's our listener some context, we had a former community member of one of the day ones. This was before either of our times. They decided to express themselves in their open form, their space, where they decided to, misrepresent the community by saying ill things towards other Black content creators, Black females, and pretty much talking really spicy and reckless on their platform, which they have the right to do it. We're at no point you can say whatever you want on your platform, but you are accountable for what you say. There may be repercussions for the way that you talk or the way you represent, because whenever you're online, you represent more than just yourself. You represent a community, whether you're a part of it or somebody identifies you as a part of it. And not everybody may share your same views, and you may get pulled to the side and be like, hey, that wasn't cool. If you go through something like that again, we might have to cut ways. You bad for business. And that person took it the wrong way after saying, I understand, I'm cool with it. Yeah, business is business. And then immediately went off the deep end saying I was kicked out of the group, which they weren't a part of. They were a part of the community. They did not understand that. And it blew up into a whole online debacle where people have to come out and explain themselves saying, yo, we were not affiliated with this person. Things had been cut off. They're toxic. And it's kind of like, how did we get here? How do you go from a community member speaking out loud about their opinions, which they have the right to do, to someone saying, I was kicked out of my group because they was hating on me. They didn't see me for who I was. They're fake. They're frauds. That's you just crying for help. Which I went back and I looked at this individual's content, and they have some issues. I understand where they feel misrepresented, because I too feel misrepresented as a Black male content creator. I stream a lot of anime games and like mech stuff where it's not the norm from
just our community, really.
yeah. Our what Zig and I do is not, we don't play like PvP games, player versus player. We play player versus environment, story driven, action based games. I play a lot of mech games, anime stuff, Zig, very story driven co-op. And I would feel like I don't see enough Black streamers like me, where there's a lot of them, but I don't see them in a position where I would say, oh yeah, we have a successful blank, this person, or someone that is doing anything positive that is helping other Black content creators. So I can understand why they may feel indifferent, but all in all, why?
Yeah, but like you say, how it's how you go about things. Um, that goes back to that toxic, not even toxic masculinity, just toxic in general. If I feel some kind of way, why would I lash out at people that have nothing to do with the situation, instead of just saying the person I have an issue with, call them, DM them, email them, whatever. You know, especially when we get into this realm that we are in with content creating, and we're creating these brands, and we're community leaders. You have to start thinking about the actions that you like. Okay, if I, like with the gentleman, the guy that we're talking about, once he hits sends, there's a point of no return after you hit upload to that video that he did. So it's like, before I do this, can I just send out, you know, a communication to this person I'm having an issue with, and try to see if we can come to some sort of resolution. And that's another issue that I've seen in that video as well, is apparently he's been sitting on, not he, but apparently this person has been sitting on, you know, this feeling of feeling slighted for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Don't, like, just in general, if you feel slighted by somebody, or if you feel that you are wronged, or if you feel like you have a strong opinion about something, speak up. Like, that's just in general. Like, if I or if anyone offends you in any form or fashion, don't just sit on it, communicate. We have to learn, in even as men, and this is really a good men topic. How many times, 8-bit, have you felt slighted by somebody or someone, or anyone, and we just ate it? Like, you know what? I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just.
Hey man, it has been a minute, and you know I have evidence of me sending out communications to other content creators, black male content creators, who sat on red, ignored, and I haven't heard anything back from. And I just check like, hey, it's my loss. I got to move on. This person got busy. They got famous. They got partnered. They are busy. I have to respect their time. Just like, at least I know they read it, or may have read it. They opened it. I don't know what happened after that. So at this point, you just eat it. You chalk it up for a loss.
And that's another thing too. Ego. You know, as men, we all have egos. We all have a perceived vision of how we feel we should be in life. And sometimes if we don't feel like we're at that point, or sometimes you even see someone else doing something that you wish you can do, you start hating on them, start getting jealous. Oh, I wouldn't do that, or he ain't even earn all that. He got it off of so and so. You know what? You don't. And I think we talked to I think DDS about that when we had him on our other show, and he even said you never know what that person went through to get to that point. Like with your endorsement that you got late last year. You know, people might just seen that, but they didn't know all the stuff that you went through leading up to that part. You know, being homeless, being, living out of your car, being all that, and still finding ways to stream, still finding ways to post content, or even just upload a video. You know, sometimes people don't have the full story. They just see the end result. They just see you getting that achievement, that fruit of your labor. So that's another thing that we have to stop doing in the male gaming realm, or just in general to each other as black men, is you got to learn to start just congratulating each other for, I don't know how I got it. What, even if it is a handout, you know what? Congrats, bro. Like, like we said, I'm trying to get like you. That's a real thing.
Now, do you, I feel like some egos are a self-defense mechanism. Like, it's a show. Like, that ain't their real hand. That's a show. Just from the concept of, you like, the Robin Williams incident, where he passed away. You wouldn't have thought he was battling depression, or anyone is battling depression when they're a naturally funny person like me. I get depressed sometimes. I don't say anything, but people be like, "You was just clowning and having fun." And then when the lights go off, the camera's off, I'm just sitting there like, I really have no energy, no emotion. What is life? What am I doing? And that's something where a lot of people really need to understand. There's an ego mindset that you really have to overcome and ask for help when you really need it, because it's really causing you more harm than good. And then there's some people who they need to understand maybe you do need a little bit of ego, because I don't know about you, Zig, but when somebody got a depressing story, every time you talk to them, I can't deal with it literally starts affecting me to the point where I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I know bad news bear is coming where it's like, oh yeah, man, today, oh man.
You
Like,
see me do it. Like whenever Dami come in, hey, you know so and so, I'm like, not right now, please. Like,
yes, but
like it's the same thing. Yeah.
but those people in males, like it's a male thing. Like, some of y'all really do cry wolf to the point where I already know it's BS. I'm just here to entertain you because I don't want to be the person to be like, he was the last person I talked to before he pulled the trigger. I'm like, yo, no, I refuse to be that person. I refuse to be that person. We need to start understanding stress. There's a difference between stress and depressed. It's a thin line, but you are stressed about something. You're not depressed about it. You're stressed about it. You haven't reached depressed levels yet. You are stressed.
Or even throw anxiety in that.
Yes, you're having, and I used to go to therapy. I stopped because I realized that a lot of the reasons I was in therapy was related to me being an alcoholic, which I was like, you know what? This is a full cycle. I need to break it. I still drink, but I don't drink as when we first met.
I can definitely agree with that.
I don't drink as much as I used to.
I say, yo, you mixing that with what?
Yes.
Yeah, Everclear. Just
I would drink Everclear straight on a daily basis. So I was a heavy alcoholic. I stopped because in therapy, I was like, well, these are the results of my actions, and they all started with drinking.
then what you had to do is find a source of that.
Yes, that pain of what I was covering. To this day, I still deal with trauma that I have not let go of. Like, my mom died in 2020. I have yet, because of everything that's been going on with my life, I have yet to just take a moment and let it out. Because you was there when I had to move all the stuff out, and then Myra mom passed like right afterwards. So then it was dealing with Myra because I had to learn how to deal with Myra lost her mom and her best friend within months of each
That
other.
is true.
So I'm learning as a, how do I deal with, I've never had Myra deal with loss before. So now I'm like, Myra just lost her best friend and her mom, who was also her best friend. So now I'm in a weird space where it's like, how do I deal with someone else dealing with loss when I have yet to deal with it myself? So I just packed all my emotional baggage and have been carrying it up until now, where I'm still carrying it because now I'm dealing with the house situation. But I manage it. I have my moments, but I know if I work through this, I will get to a moment where I will be able to breathe, even if it's just a day or two. I will get to a moment where I can just open it up, let a little bit out, just to, take the pressure off the valve. We're not in red. I have those days where I just have to relax and meditate or whatever I need to do at that time that is beneficial for me. And I don't use content creation as a way to pack it up. And that's one thing that I noticed a lot of people do. When they're dealing with a bad situation, they will just punch out content and just like burn through it. Like, just, I'm gonna just stay focused. I'm gonna stay focused. And then when they hit that roadblock, you see it start crashing and burning, and it's like, yo, making content should be a enjoyable experience. It should not be used to cope with whatever you're doing. I think that also needs to be brought out too, because I see a lot of people doing it. And then you see the cycle just start up where they disappear for months, then they show up, then they back off again, and then they're back on. It's like, no, you don't need to use content creation as some kind of emotional crutch. Do it because you like it. Don't do it because it's like, I need to just focus. That's not what you're doing. You're hurting yourself more and causing more problems down the line.
Yeah, I think that's something as well that we need to look at. And that goes back to being, I guess, always being the one that has to be strong for everybody. And that's just unfortunate. You really can't do anything about that. With loss and when is people's time to go and everything. But as men, it's like sometimes we feel like we never do get that time to just kind of, have that outlet to, grieve or whatever, because we have to, put on our stage face, put on our strong, voices, put on our,
The be the man moments.
yeah, be
Yeah.
the man moment, because we can't really be vulnerable because we're trying to be strong for other people, which is not a bad thing. But I think at the same time, we have to be knowledgeable ourselves, or at least try to, have some sort of moment where we can, like you said, like you try to get it in when you can, where you just kind of just meditate, just collect your thoughts, at least you trying. And and everybody grieves differently as well. Just like you said a few minutes ago, um, whenever someone's going through something, all of a sudden they just pushing out content left and right. And that's another way of coping, or like trying to distract themselves from what's going on.
Yeah.
Almost like what you said you were doing with drinking.
Mm.
You're doing that to mask a true issue that was going on. But at the end of the day, you have to have what we call, remember we talked about this before, you have to have that look in the mirror moment where you like, all right, the only way I can actually fix this is you got to get that mirror, you got to look at yourself, do that self-evaluation, and say, what don't I like about what I'm looking at right now? And then just make your list and start attacking each thing
Strategically.
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 You have to be honest with yourself. I'm not happy. Why? What am I doing, you know, wrong? And then you get the therapist, or it starts with yourself trying to do a self-evaluation. And then if you feel like you can't come to a resolution, you get extra help. And that's another thing. We have to normalize getting help.
True.
And sometimes friends mean well, but friends still have their own interests, or they're thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
Like, cause A Big could say, "Man, I just really don't feel like streaming right now, man. I'm just burnt out." And just I could say me for an example. I could be like, "Man, I really love that video you did last week, bro, but I understand." Not meaning anything by it, but A Big could be like, "Damn, all right, I gotta push a video out, But if you get a therapist, they're not thinking about content you pushing out. They're not thinking about, okay, I'm letting my boys down. They're thinking about,
Your
okay,
overall
why
health,
are you?
you.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes friends mean well, but sometimes you may not have to go to them about everything, you know.
Do and that brings up thing. So do friends even recognize they're actually doing anything wrong to you in terms of holding you accountable? Because it can go both ways. Friends holding you accountable, or anyone holding you accountable, where your community, they may look at it as, we trying to help them get over the rut, but they're actually hurting you in a different audience. Like so you've done this where you've said, hey, why don't you try doing this? And I'll be like, nah, bruh, no. No,
Yeah,
no. And you'll be like, oh no, my bad, my bad. I was like, no.
yeah.
I was like, nah, bro, like I'm not doing that because it's bad for me. Like I don't like playing those games. A lot of them is like horror games or soul games. Like those really hard, try hard games, they're not for me. I get very frustrated or I get quiet.
Yeah.
And I personally take engagement on my channel very seriously. Therefore, I play games where I don't have to be focused as much. But that's what I want out of my content. So, and that was another thing. I looked in the mirror and said, I was playing Mario Maker when in a bunch of retro games, but I was playing Mario Maker and I said, I don't like watching my own streams because I want engagement. I want people to watch my streams, and even if they're watching a VOD, feel like they were there. So I want engagement. So I want to play games that I can actively be engaging in, not have to focus, and I could talk. I could talk freely about anything, everything. And once I started doing that, my content changed. My audience grew. Stuff that I wanted to happen happened. So this is a free tip, the free tip of the podcast for content creation.
Hey, what you got, bro?
Uh Everybody say, I want to build a community. I want to, like, no, just you want to have fun. Start with fun. This is why my whole name changed to A Bit of Fun, because I want to remember, I want to have fun. So always start with fun. Before you even start, if you're even new to streaming and you like, you know what, I want to get into it, start with fun, figure it out later. Uh, but back to the topic at hand. Uh, some friends, you surround yourself with people like you. So there's some people that don't have friends that don't see what they're doing is toxic. They think it's fine. So how we're asking people to hold each other accountable, but your inner circle may not even know it's toxic. Like even on the person's that we were talking about earlier, their video, people were clapping and praising them like toxicity is normal, because to them it is. They don't see, they when they see positivity, they're like, they come out with the word sus, and yeah, they're catering to they're just catering to suck up to women, and black kings need to fight for their own, and yeah, we fight for our own, but look who supports us. Like Zig, before we even met Green and anybody else, we felt like we was the only two on the rowboat.
This is not a joke. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had I had other white content creators trying to find me black people for me to interact with. And when I interacted with those black people, we were playing the same games, and they act like I was chopped liver. They only wanted to interact with the larger white audience streamers because they was like, that's how I'm gonna get in. And it was the dog eat dog mentality where, oh, I have to be top dog. I have to be the best. I have to have all the views because that's how I'll get other black people to follow me, by having a bigger audience. but that's not it. That's definitely not it. You have to be willing to work with other people. You have to be willing to work with your brother because we have. We will not have the same uh advancements in anything like everybody else if we don't work with each other.
You have to. There's like you I think you said this last week or 2 weeks ago, but that lone wolf, you said that lone wolf mentality we gotta stop. Like I totally understand you wanting to do everything yourself, not needing anybody, not having to say that you relied on anybody to do anything, but at a point you have to rely on someone. I don't know who it is, what color they are, what gender they are, what their orientation is. Eventually, you will need somebody for something, especially if you're trying to grow. You're gonna need an editor. You're gonna do it. So you're gonna record, edit, Discord, social media, make thumbnails, stream, meet people, talk to investors, talk to people to try to get sponsored. You're gonna do all that by yourself. You're gonna do all that by yourself.
And book your flights
You're gonna book
and
your flights.
your cars, your hotel, you doing all that.
So we gotta start thinking of, you're not saying you have to have a big team, but get with a few people or start trying to network with a few people that have your best interests in mind, that are, pure interests in mind, and that will hold you accountable. Because I can do some, if I were to post some wild stuff right now, or if I were to do something out of left field, 8-Bit would be like, yo, like, Zig, what are you doing? That's holding somebody accountable. And if I give him whatever answer, he'd be like, all right, like, that's, you are still your own person, but I'm gonna still at least ask you about what are you doing right here. You know, you can't force somebody to stop doing whatever they're doing, but you can still try to hold them accountable. And that's all you can really ask. And not saying it's your responsibility, because at the end of the day, we're all individual people. But if this is your circle of friends, I do feel like you do have some sort of responsibility. If you see your friend kind of veering off path, I think it is our responsibility to a certain extent to, hey bro, what's going on? Like, everything all right? Like, what's going on? What's good? Talk to me. Let's go grab a bite to eat and just talk, let's talk it out. Get out the house. You know, I think that's really the main thing. And when we say holding each other accountable, that's a part of it.
So one, I would like, as you do, give flowers. I give it to you. You have successfully taken over my role as big brother, where you do check-ins with everybody, you communicate, you do everything in your power to keep everybody at functioning human being levels, where look, no doom and gloom, and we deal with, in our circle, in our bubble
The
of friends,
local
yes,
friends, yeah.
yes, we do deal with people who do get depressed, and it's sometimes a little rough, where we kind of manipulate some stuff around with our personal schedules and even with content, so we could all play games together, because that's what we do. We used to always play games together, and just getting back to that old school kind of just boys sitting around playing video games on a Saturday.
Yeah, the couch co-op.
Yeah, we get back to that and just have fun. But sometimes when we try to hold each other accountable, it does backfire. We have a friend. They have a podcast. They pretty much this is not Zig and I's first time on rodeo with podcasting. We've had several failed podcasts between the two of us,
That's true.
and we've learned that you can't do business with everybody. You can't do business with friends, and can't do business with family. Um, that's the that's one of the best business advices I've ever learned the hard way. But we have a friend. They have a podcast with another mutual friend of ours, and I personally said, "Hey, I don't think the other person is holding up. I don't think your co-host is holding up to their end of the deal. I don't think you should wait. I think you should continuously get on a schedule and produce your content. Schedules are very effective in terms of growing. People know when to find you. Stop just throwing out these random episodes. Either make a backlog where it's topics that you could drop at any moment of time. They don't have to be time sensitive, not like we're doing like esports finals and it's like, okay, y'all dropped that out 2 months later, the finals are over with, the whole new bracket started. No, we are talking about general topics that can be released at any moment. We said, hey, this person holding you down. No, they didn't listen. They kept saying, no, I want to wait on them. I won't wait. I feel bad. And they made a lot of excuses for this person. I still listen to their podcast. I drop hints during conversation that I listen, but for the most part, I don't even tell them I listen. I'm not going to keep giving you advice or acknowledging your content to you personally. It's like if I watch a YouTube video, I don't tell everybody every YouTube video I watch. I don't tell everybody every podcast I listen to. I'm not going to tell you I listen to your podcast because one, you're not even taking the advice that I'm giving you, even though I'm holding you accountable to your plans and your goals, because they say, yeah, I want to do more. I want to do more. I feel like I'm doing more. And I'm like, well, I gave you advice that you did not listen to. I'm no longer giving you advice because I'm personally tired of feeling like I've wasted my time, even though you are my brother.
So I have a question for you, a bit.
Mhm.
So I think this was one of your notes you have right here. So how do you hold someone accountable when they don't believe they did anything wrong?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that out because I feel bad if I would cut them off. I would feel very bad if I cut them off because do they deserve it? They might just be having a bad time, but I can't keep holding someone accountable who refuse to listen to me or anyone because it goes back to the lone wolf. Oh no, I got it. I'm gonna do it. But then they start saying like it becomes a deep cry for help where I'm like, yo, I'm burned out. I have my other things to do. I have other problems. I have bigger fish to fry now. I'm not saying your problems aren't invalid, but to me, they're more of a hindrance to my growth. So it is a toxic environment when it comes to certain subjects with them because I'm like, I really don't even want to talk about what I want to do because I have a feeling it's going to segue into their stuff, which I'm like, I'm tired of giving you, I'm not giving advice. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm limiting my words and conversations because I just can't express how I want to express things to you because one, I don't know how they're going to take it. Two, it's going to be an excuse or a way of saying, "Hey, no," or "I know." If you know and you're still not doing it, then you don't want to grow. So I'm not having that conversation.
Yeah, because and then I think that goes back to the other topic where you said that you know, how we deal with somebody that probably can't articulate their emotions. At that point, it's like probably need other help because as friends, you can only do so much.
Yes. Yes, like we can't be there. I can't make content for somebody. I barely can make content for myself. Like I can't make content for somebody else. I can't be there to hold their hand. I can't tell them exactly what to do. And like that's the part of the content creation that that's the fun part of content creation. Learning, doing, and building your own brand. Like you've built a brand around positive insight and giving people a chance to tell their stories where they
Yep.
don't feel like I'm on this grand stage
Mm-mm.
of a sacrifice where it's like if I say anything weird or crazy about my journey, I'm immediately get persecuted or get looked at weird. Like
Nope.
no.
Like I say, everybody has a story, and we can all learn something from somebody, even if it's I know not to do that, or hey, that's pretty cool. I didn't think about that. I might need to look into that a little bit more, or I didn't know you went through all that. That now it makes sense why you are the way you are. Why you so that's what I really try to get to with that is get a better understanding of each other, and especially with some of the partners that we interview. It's people always look at the end result. Oh, your partner, like these people, some of these people have like stories. It's like they went through a lot to get to where they are, and they really truly deserve it. And it's a long process. Some people's journey is longer than others, but we can't compare ourselves to each other, and that's another thing where that toxic masculinity or just toxic aura in general comes with social media, because social media has that compare and contrast. Look at me now, keeping up with the Joneses mentality, because on social media you typically see everyone on social media. You either see one or two things. You either see people's cry for help when they're at their worst, or you see people at their best.
The
You s-
shine.
you see the shine. So it's either one of the two extremes, and 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be the glitz and glamour. Look what I got. Hey, everybody, look, I just got this. Hey, everybody, look who I'm working with now. Hey, everybody, look. But you don't see what led up to that, and that's what we need to kind of get into, just giving people their appreciation. I don't know how you got it, and it's not my business. Just acknowledge it or don't acknowledge it and move on. Or we need to start asking people for not advice or how they did it or the copy, because once again, not everybody really deserves to know how you got it. It's just just ask, and you might get an answer from it, and you might also get another person to network with. It's just about how you approach people. That's another thing too. You got to learn how to approach people professionally in just general, because that also might predicate what kind of response you get as well. And I think that it's a lot of this is a very broad thing with this topic, with the toxic, just
and
toxic in general.
and accountability is a bit hard when a lot of people actually understand accountability differently. Some people feel like accountability is if you see someone's doing wrong, you correct it immediately. Some people saying if you see somebody doing wrong, you give them advice. So is is the end result of accountability you covering CYA, covering your own arse, or is accountability rectifying a situation in that hand? Like it's like if you see a child doing something wrong, do you spank the child to make them understand, or do you pull them aside and talk to them to understand the situation that what they're doing is wrong and have them explain it?
That's a good question, and then goes back to what we talked about. a few minutes ago, it's all about how you go about doing things. Because, like, as you seen what I do with Izzy, if she does something that I don't like, I just talk to her. No yelling, no spanking, no, but at the same time, it is a case by case basis.
Yeah, because
But I
you
can do
raise your
Izzy.
child, you raise your child to understand when you're talking, they have to listen to an adult.
Right.
Some kids do not understand until the belts come out.
And who's to say if I were to have another kid down the line, I might have to go that route with that person. And I think that's the same thing with accountability. Some people I guess some people get their you get their undivided attention differently. You know, how would I guess I'll ask you, how can someone get your undivided attention?
See, I unfortunately am one of those children who are I'm a trial by fire person. I'm not a person where you could tell me something and I will understand. I am a visual learner. I have to be in the trenches figuring it out. I am not the person to say, "Oh yeah, A bit, yeah, what you said was a little bit wild. It was a little bit unorthodox." And I'm like, I'm a on switch person. If you tell me to explain myself and I don't have time to think about my responses, you're getting anything. You're getting whatever comes out of my head. I do not know what is going to happen. This is raw, unfiltered emotion. Because if I suppress it, it's going to get worse and it's going to get worse really quickly. So I have to either blah and whatever we get sticks to the wall. And it's like, I said it, I'll ask for forgiveness if it offends anybody. But I can't be one of those people where it's like, yeah, what you did was wrong. This is why, or I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, you have to, I will be like, look, you're not offending me, but I need you to talk to me like a child so I can understand. If you just expect me to understand as a regular working adult, no, please break it down to me slowly. You're not offending me. I just know when it comes to things that are emotional or cannot be scientifically proven, I am an idiot. I do not recognize emotions as everybody else. Myra will be like, you are very blunt. I did not know I was blunt because of the environment I was raised in. My emotions are catered a little bit differently than most people. So therefore, do not put it as I could be seen as toxic masculinity as well, because I'm a person that has lived a very rough life, as one would say. I'm from New Orleans, the lower ninth ward. It's like, other than a box, that is as homeless as it gets almost to some people. Which I have been homeless before. So it's like you have been and lived through the worst parts of life. So therefore, nothing surprises me. But I also know I need to live each moment as if it's my last. So I don't really hold much back, if anything. I usually hold things back so I don't hurt or offend other people because I care about them. So it's not, I have toxic, that's why I posted a while back and said, I'm a nice person with toxic traits. That is how I was raised. I can't undo some of those, but looking back and looking at where I am now, I have grown to the point where I understand certain emotions, or people that I've lived with or people that I know. I kind of picked up on how to approach them about certain things. But a person coming off the street, no, I would have no way on even knowing how to begin interacting with them on an emotional level to give or hold them accountable. I'll just see something wrong and either one, make a joke out of it, or two, look into them and investigate them to kind of be like, where is this coming from? I need to know more so I can either try and help you or definitely avoid you.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I guess I got another thing. So how do you think, just in general, like, to hold each other accountable, how should we go about, I guess, pushing forth that uh I guess notion for the male community? Like, how can we start holding each other accountable? How can we start getting a little better
The
at
narrative.
yeah, the narrative. There we go.
So one, we got to come together. That's the first narrative. You can't be so distant and so spread out to where you're just out there. Like, we have to come together, even if it's just to say, hey, I'm a black gamer, I'm a black streamer, I'm a black content creator, I'm a black video editor. Everyone, if black males unified as a whole, which it's it's a it's a pipe dream. It's a weird pipe dream. Uh because one, black males coming together with the amount of egos and the toxic masculinity is going to be very hard. So, in order to even begin holding each other accountable, we all got to come together and agree we need to do better.
So
Not with my bad, but
no, you good.
not as a almost like if you were voting and they say, okay, you got the red side and the blue side. You don't vote for your best interest, your personal best interest. We need to vote as the community interest. In all honestly, we're going extinct. Like, black male content creators will be extinct soon. Or or you pick a side and you pray your side wins. But most of us will not make it through the winter. Sad but truth. You're gonna get canceled, or you're just gonna be streaming to a group of toxic people. We gotta wake up and vote for the better as a whole.
So, like, how have other areas figured this out? Football can do it. Basketball, baseball, sports, like, they can get men together for a common cause.
You want to know why? Want to know my okay? This is where
You
my
know what I'm saying?
honest opinion. This is where my honest opinion and my statement from earlier. These are my opinions. Are not affiliated with Real Ones Network or Kings in Gaming. These are 8-Bit's personal opinions because they have white leadership. They have white leadership that puts all of them together. So they're vetted. The white leader is vetted because he is white and clearly can be successful. It's kind of like the Dave Chappelle joke where he said, I can make a safe place for women, but y'all work for me.
Yeah.
So pretty much only your oppressor can save you. So if the male oppressor can save the female congregation. These are my personal opinions. So I feel, okay, cool. In order for black men to succeed, you like BET. In order for a black entertainment television to work, it has to be ran by white people. Sad but true. That is how I feel would be the first step in getting us together. And then from there, we vote to kick them out once we got our stuff together.
So how are the women doing it? The black women doing it?
Because
they don't need.
Yes, they don't need us because they have come to solidarity. Because well, I don't know this for sure, because I can't speak for a woman, but from the outside looking in, the women had a common cause to get together. They had no representation. All there, when you go to the front face of every social media for gaming or any kind of industry like that, it is male led. So therefore, everyone, not just black women, but every woman could understand I have no representation. Black males have a representation. It's just white. Males have a representation. It's just white.
Yeah, so I think, yeah. And then I guess the certain, not everybody, but certain ones that get on, they like, hey, I got on, so
I don't need you. I don't need y'all who broke y'all back to lift me up. I don't need the bottom of the totem pole. You don't need the bottom of the totem pole that's in the mud when you're sitting on top of it. That's it. They played the totem pole. They got out. They're the crab that got out of the bucket. I no longer need the crabs that helped me out. I no longer need the crabs I stepped on to get out of the bucket. I'm free. But that's my opinion.
yeah. So no, that's fine, man. It's an opinion. So how do we get to that common ground? That's the I
hey,
guess these conversations.
yes, open floor dialogue to where now people know how I feel. So you know how I feel. Either avenues can come up with like, oh man, I'm sorry you feel like that. We're a group. The Kings in Gaming is a group that is here to rectify that and make you feel belong. And we want to work with you so that you no longer feel like you're not represented, or you see that there's other positive black people, brothers, that are with you. You do not, you're not the lone king. You're not the king of no nation. You have a nation of other kings with you who will help you and help you understand why you feel that way.
And I think that's like part of the problem as well. Like you said, you can have opinions and you can have your thoughts on how you feel about certain things, but I think that's part of the problem as well. Is I feel like you shouldn't have to give a disclaimer reading off a scroll. I am 8-bit of fun. I feel like that's how we come to a resolution. You say how you feel. You should be able to say how you feel, and someone should be able to take that and say, maybe there's some truth to this. Let's do any of y'all else feel like that?
And
You know, without trying to cancel somebody.
and that's the thing. Once other people, they're waiting on somebody else to say the words first. We've seen this earlier yesterday. Everybody had the same thought, but until you express it, everybody else was quiet.
Yeah, once I sent that message, everybody.
Oh yeah, I seen that too. But I mean, it is what it is. That's how I feel. But I've been doing this for 11 years. At some point, I'm officially burned out on trying to understand the avenues or uh advocacy of black male content creators. I'm here because I want to change. I'm on this podcast because I want to change. And like you told me and taught me, you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. So I know I have to change.
At least try.
Yes.
Gotta at least try.
Yes. And in all the kings in the King in Gaming, they all have helped me re-idealize or change some of the perspectives that I did have and do have on other black male content creators. So I'm here because of them, and they see a value in me being here. So I'm gonna be as open and honest about it as I possibly can, because y'all deserve it. All the kings deserve it.
Yeah, definitely shout out to everybody in the group. And I think also too, 8-bit, that's another point to make, that it's okay to disagree. This is to all men and really just anybody in general. It's okay to disagree respectfully.
Yes.
You know, if someone thinks a certain way, that's fine. And if you want to get into a dialogue with them, I respectfully disagree, but think about this, and maybe y'all can come to a common ground, and maybe not, but at least you know how each other feel. Even with like A-Bit said, in politics, the blue side or the red side, I can't tell someone how they should feel about certain politics because I don't know how they're living, and it's really not my business about finances or investments and different things like that. So you vote how you want to vote, and I'll vote like how I want to vote. But if you want to openly talk about it, you have to, if you want to get a better understanding. It's not if you're either this side or you're against us. Like, that's just not productive. And I think that's the same way with men and women in the gaming industry, and just the toxic masculinity, and just once again just the toxic nature in social media and gaming in general. We it can't be a one for all mentality. We have to find some sort of common ground if we want to grow. Just like guys that play Call of Duty games or FPS games or only sports games, sometimes they shun out black males in that space that don't play those games, like an 8-bit. We have to come to some sort of common ground, and once we unite, because I think in some other groups they don't care what games they play. Is all everyone that has a common purpose and a common ground.
Yes. At the end of the day, we all want to make our goals. The whole point of their groups are to focus on, hey, we like this guy. He has a good personality. We don't care what he plays. We're here to help him get to his goals and help him with his goals. And
Yeah.
that's what that's what we all need to do. That's the first thing first. We all need to understand, hey, we will either stand together or fall separately. That needs to be first. And then after that, we can figure out everything else afterwards. But until we come together as a group, I really don't see, in any way, shape, or form, any male content creators lasting long, or it's just going to be you're shunned to the back of the bus and we'll toss you a bone when we need you. February is coming up quick. They're going to be looking. So let's pick from the bucket and see who we get. Like I
Yeah.
love all my brothers. I love all my brothers and kings, but we got to do better. Hands down, we are the bottom of the totem pole, and that water is rising quickly.
Yeah, and once again, like A-Bit said, if anyone wants to talk further on any of these topics, or y'all think differently, hit us up on realkingsandgaming@gmail.com. Contact us or reach out to us on social media platforms. What's the social media platforms, 8-bit?
uh Kings in Gaming. On the We got Instagram, we got Twitter, Facebook, Kings in Gaming, Twitter, Kings in Gaming, uh Facebook, yeah, Kings in Gaming. Like, you look up Kings in Gaming, you're gonna see the K, the I, the N, and the G. Yep, you're gonna see the logo. Click it, give us a follow. Like we said, we are very open to having these discussions. And like I said, if you
Respectful.
yes, sir.
I'm stressing respectful discussion because the moment it gets disrespectful and we're not tolerating it, just straight up like right now, like, and I usually let a lot of stuff slide, but I will say wholeheartedly, hands down, we will not tolerate disrespectful dialogue. You can be passionate, you can be whatever, but the moment it gets disrespectful, I'm sorry, we're
We
not
got to
doing
shut it
that.
down.
We shutting it down.
We
Yeah.
shut it down immediately. This is a positive platform. We can when people come to this podcast, Kings and Gaming, it is a safe, respectful, your opinion is open to discussion respectfully, and we will definitely give you the proper respect you deserve as long as it's given to us. This is a full circle. We are not here to gloat, clout chase, and suck up to anybody. We are all here because we are passionate about Black male content creators' growth, because we are Black male content creators who know how hard it is to get ahead, especially when you don't have family, friends, or anybody who actually understands what you are or what you're trying to accomplish. Your goals are not the same. Like my goals is not the same as your goals, Zig.
Correct.
And our producers' goals are not the same as ours.
Correct.
We all have things we want to accomplish. And the best way to do that is to figure out whatever information we get, we share it with each other, because it might not help me, it might help you. But we don't know
Correct.
because we're sitting on information, hoarding it, because it's like, no, if he might get ahead if I give it to him. They gotta go.
Even if it's somebody that can make a logo for you, like this,
Yes.
like share that. Somebody might be struggling with trying to find somebody that can do that, or not even thinking about it.
Retweets are free. Retweets are free.
Yep, I agree.
So this is it for us. Zig, once again, I appreciate you for everything you've done. Once again, shout out to all the Kings in Gaming. Follow us on social media. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're one of our YouTube watchers, or if you're listening, go on over to YouTube, check us out. Um, we are very happy. We will have Discord information for any of those who are kings that would like to potentially join us, or maybe you need some help with something. If you need anything, please reach
And
out.
and just as a preference, or not preference, a preface, this is a business oriented group. So for
Yes.
people that want to join or potentially join, definitely reach out to our producer, Green SP, and let him work out the details. But if you want to join the community of Kings and Gaming, we don't have a name for the community yet. Definitely that'll be in the Discord as well. So because we definitely want to start the conversation. We want to definitely start getting people talking about things that they want to talk about in the male community and how we can be better.
But thank y'all for listening, watching, and we will catch y'all next time.